Hi, we're about to install an IIS and Web2py combination. Since I'm not very accustomed to installing IIS and configuring it, I thought I'd create a video of my venture into IIS land. Um, First of all, if you want to use IIS and Web2py running as a web server, you need Python enabled on IIS, and the only way to do that is to use the CGI feature running the fast CGI with IIS 8.5 and Python 2.7.9. Um, you can use the web platform installer, which we will be using, as you'll see, and a lot of it will be an easier installation than the Web2py recipe on the web page in the Web2py book. So, well, let's start out. I've got the just set up server here, and what I'm going to do now is to install the CGI feature and the web server feature. So to do that, we need to add roles and features, and we'll click next. We got role-based, that's all fine. Well, I'll accept everything that's default here. We'll have the web server. Yeah, I want the web server, add features. And here comes the web server with the roles. And here comes the management tools, which I think there was on the application development. There you have the CGI. If you forget this one, none of it will work. So basically it's all the way up from the web server, and there you see the application development. Check the CGI, that's it. All the defaults will do. Now we press install and we wait. There it goes. What we're running here is a server 2012 R2, which comes bundled with IIS 8.5 when you install that feature, of course. Next, we need to install the Python. We need to install a URL rewriting tool, and we need to install the fast CGI, which we'll be using the new web platform components feature that Microsoft now has, which is kind of brilliant compared to what it used to be. It feels a little like Debian install packages stuff, which I'm more accustomed to. So I was really glad to see that they managed to get things working easier. From the tools, I navigate to the Internet Information Services Manager, the IIS Manager, and from here you'll see your server running. And here it asks, do you want to get started with the Microsoft Web Platform to stay connected? Yes, in this case, I do want that. The pop-up will be annoying in a while. Oh, this one is blocked. Apparently someone set some rules that it's hard to get here. But there's a free download, which I cannot get right now. So I'll have to get it on another machine and transfer the file there. So I just downloaded this free download here, the WPI launcher, and I've saved it to the server's machine. So I should be able to get there now. And there you have it. This is a one-time install that you need. And now we need to know what packages we want to install. And for that, we're going to search for Python. And with Python comes the fast CGI. I'm going to install Web2py, and Web2py is a of a Python 2 application. So installing the Python 3 will not help you in this sense. We also need the Python 2.7.9. It's a 32-bit, but it's all that this platform offers. And because it works, I'm going to choose 32-bit. As soon as 64-bit is supported, I'll probably upgrade. But for now, that's it. Checking the fast CGI and the Python, you also need the URL rewrite tool. If you find that and you add it, and next click install, 3 packages will be installed, and I accept. And while reading through some adventorials, we wait for the installer to complete. Which luckily is quite quick. There comes the Python installation. If you've installed Python before, you'll remember this screen. It comes with pip installed, so you have easy package management. It does have all the tests included as well, if I'm not mistaken, so you can delete some files if you want to make room, but it's mostly a lot of files and hardly any disk space. We got everything installed that we need, so that's it. We finish. And we're done with the web platform installer. Thank you. And I can remove that file as well. So there we go. Next up, what we need is to get the Web2py source code, which is obviously at this location. There's a download button here, and we'll get the source code. Which comes up, and I'll save it again to the same server, to the root. There we go. Where's my root? This should be confirmed right now, but and there you go. Come on. It's always good to know it is 0 seconds left and isn't complete yet. I think it's the virus scanner working now, but I don't know if the virus scanner works on UNC paths. Well, I think it should be done right now, but so I'll just copy and paste this. I know it's a zip file. Yes, I'm sure. There we go. There's a Web2py. You want to extract this, the contents of the Web2py folder, into the default website, which I'll use just the explore feature to get there. So I have these two Explorer panes next to each other, and I'll just copy everything into the www road. There we go. Yeah, I want to do everything. Now, IIS can be managed using a web.config file, which resides in the application's examples folder. So there we have the web.config, and just copy it, and we paste it in the site's root folder. There we go. We need that one. We'll edit it shortly. We need to replace some text in there. We'll do it right away. Let's open it with Notepad. And as you can see, this is a completely new server. I'll just run it locally. So from my machine, I'm going to move to that file. There you have the window. INET-pub, the root, and the web config. This is a lot easier than the default Notepad editor. Notepad++ is a lifesaver many times. In here, there's this this line in the handler section. I'll put on some syntax coloring. Here's the script processor. You need to replace this text, script processor, with something that comes from the IIS manager. And you can find it, let me see here, because it is set up automatically. Mapping handlers. Yeah, there's something you cannot understand there. Let me see. There should be a fast CGI somewhere here now. This is the CGI. No, I need the fast CGI. Maybe I need to restart that. Let's see if it works. Well, we're just going to copy and paste text from somewhere else, because here you see that there is a default installation of a Python. So we got the Python exe file that's right here, and that needs to be in that file along with a pipe signal. And then we need the wfastcgi Python file, which we can also find here, which in default is installed on the Python 2.7 scripts folder. There we have it. This is the complete path. You need that to combine it in the after the pipe. This should be the same as the script processor. We'll see that in a second. So I'll close the Notepad++. Now, if we restart here and we open the handler mappings, it should be able oh, I got something else there. Cannot be used at this path. This happens when the section is locked at the parent level. Well, I do know that we need to tell IIS to accept the handler mappings, which should be done at server level. Oh, there we have it at the server level. There should be fast CGI settings. Exactly, that's the one. Here you see exactly the same path with the arguments. And those two combined make up for the combination that we just used. It's an odd way that IIS uses to designate the processor, but if it works, it works. Now what we need to do is we move up here to the server. Next we move to the handler mappings in the feature delegation. So let's find feature delegation. Feature delegation, where are you? Oh, there it is. Thank you. Feature delegation. There is the option to handler mappings, which needs to be set to read-write so that the config file can overrule the settings of the IIS. Otherwise, it can only be read, and that just doesn't work. But this is a lot easier. So we have the config file. It can now tell IIS what to do. That should be it. Now we need the IIS user group to have access in the Web2py folder. So let's move back to the inet pub www root and have the security. There's a lot of users here, and there's the IIS group, but it doesn't have the required access rights because it needs modify, which also comes along with the rights. And you can think, why does it need write rights? Well, Web2py stores its sessions and databases in that location, and IIS is not going to host any files directly other than the static files. So there's not any way that the user can actually get to those files. So that's probably quite safe. Well, that should be it. To have this all set up, we need to move to the default website and go to the authentication tab. I've learned this the hard way instead of because I had uh, static files that were unable to be read because of the anonymous authentication mode being set to a different user. So you move to the default website, to the authentication tab. On the anonymous authentication, you have this edit option, which you need to set to the application pool identity, which we just gave the read-write access. This feature isn't in the Web2py recipe, so this might help if you tried that before. I'll close this one as well. Now let's see if we can get anything on the server. We need the WebP03. Let's see what it comes up with. Well, there you have it. That's the welcome app from Web2py with the static files. Everything just works like a charm. And it doesn't have the admin interface right now because it's not on HTTPS. So you want HTTPS. And furthermore, we didn't set a password yet. So we have to set a password. And we have to set up HTTPS. So we'll do the HTTPS first. You move to the IIS manager. Then you go to the server settings. Then you open the server certificates. And from the server certificates, you apply the create self-signed certificate. That's the easiest. It will bring up lots of nasty pop-ups, but it's the quickest to set up. So it's a local, untrusted, self-signed certificate that I will be using for web hosting. From there, let's configure it. There's the default website. From the default website, we have these bindings on the Edit Site tab or on the right here. You click bindings and there we press the add button to say that we want HTTPS to be bound as well. It's not required on a specific hostname. We want it to be everywhere. That's this setup. And we just check the just created certificate and press the OK and close. That should be that. Now let's test it from a remote computer. There's my Chrome. Oh, it's not trusted. I know. It's locally signed, but it does work, and it says admin is disabled because we're unable to access a password file, but this is over HTTPS, so HTTPS just works. Great. Now to access the admin panel, we have to provide a password. So we run command, and if I'm not mistaken, it's Control Shift Enter, which should run it as an administrator, but apparently that doesn't work through the RDP or whatever, so I have to get rid of it. Commands.exe. There we have it. Run as administrator. That also works. Are you sure you want to be an administrator? Yes, I'm sure. Let's move to the inet pub www root, and now we need to run it. Since Python is not on the default application, that's that the installer doesn't set Python, it doesn't append a Python path to your executable path, so you have to use the full name, but that's quite simple. It's Python 2.7 in this case with the Python exe, and now we need to run it, and we're in the inetpub ww route, so we now need to Web2py, and when we do this, it will create a file. It will run Web2py locally, and it will say, well, I'm here, I'm on this port, and we just say, no, you're on a different port. And we provide a password. For this case, it's just test. Now we start the server, we ignore everything else, and we stop the server. And that's it. Because right now, there is this parameters 433 file that you see, which contains the encrypted password. So there we have it. That's the password, which is test. And now I can get my local admin interface, and I should, oh, now I need to restart it. It's we're using fast CGI, which means that there's a parallel process next to IIS, which in which the Web2py application is run. So we need to restart the IIS, so it will restart the fast CGI and therefore the Web2py. So just kick this server and say restart, and everything will reboot. Now there we go. Because the parameter file seems to be checked only on startup. At least that's what I had last time. Apparently something else is just different now. Or did I use... yeah, that was the wrong one. I need 433, but of course that's a little different. Let's rename the parameters to the 443. Yeah, again, that's true. Parameters 443. One little typo there, and we're all stuck. Now let's see if it needs to rerun again. I'm quite eager to know if that's still the same or not. And I was mistaken. So now we got it. It just read the password, and we can log in using test. And there we have the application, the admin interface of Web2py, and you can now happily create your applications. Now, probably this will be enough for quite a few servers. Now, I was having some different issues. I was using and the CAS, oh, what's that called? The Central Authentication Services. It's in the Web2py book. And what it does is it builds up connection to, it builds up an HTTPS connection. So that's a secure connection to another server. You need that certificate though. And since this is a web certificate from a Linux server, it's not in the central repository. So I added that to the computer certificate store, but IIS can't read that. So if you run into anything that your application connects to HTTPS to a specific server, what you need to do is to go to the IIS manager, and then on the application pools, check the default application pool, go to the advanced settings, and in here there's a local user profile. Specifies whether IIS loads the user profile for an application pool identity. Well, if it's false, you cannot access the certificate store. So enable that to true, and you're all good to go. Well, that's it for this tutorial. This is the installation that I used. It's quite long, 24 minutes I see. If you run it really up to speed, you can do it in 10 minutes, but this should be it. Happy coding.